Good day, fellow Jersey nerds, and welcome to episode 3 of Throwback Throwdown, powered by HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. I'm your host, Ryan. Today on the Throwdown, we have 2 semifinal matchups, and we're going to be going back to 1995 for these matchups. We have the alternate jerseys, the initial offering from 1995. We're leaving out the Wild Wing because personally for me that would go all the way. So we have the first matchup, which will be LA versus Boston, and the second matchup, which will be Pittsburgh versus Vancouver. And then, of course, we have the big Throwback Throwdown final to determine the best of the 95 throwbacks, excluding the Mighty Ducks alternate, but whatever. Joining me for this Throwback Throwdown is Sean. What's going on, Sean?
After a week hiatus where I went out downtown Halifax for the first time in close to a few years, back at it again, doing the podcast thing, rocking my 2018 Connor Hellebuck All-Star jersey. And while he's not having an All-Star year, you know what? Well-deserved.
The Jets will be okay, though. They'll be fine.
He has a .907 save percentage, and that's all he needs.
They're still close to the top of the division, within striking distance, and pretty much as long as they make the
they're leading their division.
Okay.
They're leading their division.
As long as they make the playoffs.
They're leading the division, and they have that wonderful backup in Laurent Brassard. I'm not worried about them. You know, they call it the sophomore slump for a reason. You know, he'll be back.
Everything will be fine. Now, when you said you went out in downtown Halifax, I can't think of a better thing to do with your weekend. How was your night in downtown Halifax?
Well, my coworkers said I didn't have a choice. I went along with it, and it was a good time. Good time had by all. Had a few brewskis. Had a schooner at Boomers. You know, that's something to do. And I did not wear a hockey jersey, which
that's weird.
I know, right? Like,
who does that? Seriously.
Who doesn't wear hockey jersey? Oh, lots of people, businessmen, lawyers, those type of unsuccessful people.
Regular folk,
normies. Yeah.
Also joining us, making his long-awaited triumphant return, joining us for Throwback Throwdown is Justin. What's going on, man?
Yeah, not too bad. It definitely feels like a throwback being on the podcast in general, so it's good to be back. I am wearing a hockey jersey unlike those normies, so that's always good. Rocking a authentic Jamie Benn New Stars Away that I actually picked up just for the price of shipping, kind of a special Christmas sale from a guy I talked to, so that worked out really well.
That's pretty
So, yeah, looking forward to another podcast and looking forward to another jersey as well.
Yeah, so anything exciting going on? I mean, it's been quite a while. You've been quite busy since you've been on a podcast. Anything exciting going on that would really perk people's interests?
Just school. Unfortunately, one of those semesters, junior year, in a mechanical engineering program isn't exactly friendly for extracurricular activities. So I'm popping on while I can. We'll see if I can be more involved this semester. Been in the background a lot of HJC, writing some news stories and stuff. So it's nice to get to the forefront again.
That's how it goes. That's just how it goes sometimes when school and work and everything comes up. It always happens in bunches, and then you just adjust as it goes. But we're all here. We're all accounted for. We're ready to dive back into 1995 and the group of alternate jerseys. All right, our first matchup is the Burger King, the LA Kings alternate jersey from 1995, affectionately known as the Burger King, going up against the 1995 Boston Bruins alternate, which also earned itself a nickname, and it's called the Pooh Bear jersey. Now let's look at the Los Angeles Kings jersey. Pretty famous jersey here. You probably all know what the Burger King looks like, but this is a white base jersey with a gray gradient swoop, pretty much coming down from the shoulder to the other side of the bottom hem of the jersey, and then the bottom hem of the jersey itself is another gradient, and the gradient repeats on the arms. Kind of a very untraditional font. And then it got its nickname from the logo on the front, which is a king logo, an actual person, a king, except it has a purple beard. And it looked very similar to the Burger King mascot. It's going up against the Boston Bruins alternate jersey. Now, this was the yellow jersey. The jersey design itself was pretty unique. Kind of had a bear fur or a bear claw pattern on the shoulders, cuffs, and hem. But then, of course, the Pooh Bear nickname came from the very non-intimidating bear logo on the front of the jersey. The jersey did have a regular block font numbering, and the shoulder patch was a word mark that went outside of the shoulder yoke. So definitely a different jersey here on both sides of the matchup. But let's start with the Los Angeles Kings Burger King jersey. Sean, we'll start with you.
I'm kind of indifferent to this jersey. On the one hand, I don't think it's as bad as some people think it is. There's a lot to like. I like the logo most of all, and I like the fact that it's the first time I really think the Kings really tried to use gray above black and white as their main color. On the other hand, I don't think it's as good as some people say it is or ahead of its time. I think that if the team had opted for that gradient pattern on the jersey and put a striping pattern on it, we'd be talking about it very differently. But it's a mixed bag, and I think that of the era, it sort of sits somewhere in the middle.
All right, let's go to Justin and your thoughts on the Burger King jersey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. I don't really have too strong an opinion on this one, either positive or negative. I think one thing they do really well, that's something that the Wild have done with their new Adidas jerseys and their late Reebok jerseys, is they have numbers that use colors that are not seen in the jersey outside of the logo, and I think that's really ahead of its time. The fact that the jersey itself is just white and gray, but they can bring in the purple and gold both in the numbers and the logo. I think that brings it a big step forward. It definitely swings for the fences. I think it misses the fences by a good deal. I think they went for a little too much overall, but again, not too much that I hate about it, and also not too much that I like about it. Just kind of there, and it's a piece of Kings history and Wayne Gretzky history as well, which always keeps it noticeable.
Yeah, I like this jersey just because I thought it was so terrible. I do think the logo's solid, but why does it have to be on the top left chest? The gradient, as Sean mentioned, could have worked, but in a different arrangement. Obviously, from what we've heard, teams were instructed back in '95 to try and use sublimation as much as possible because it was this new process that CCM finally figured out, and so the teams were apparently encouraged to use it, and that's why you saw gradients on a lot of these jerseys. But I think just the way the jersey is laid out makes it pretty bad. The numbering on the back is unique, but again, makes it pretty bad for a hockey jersey. So overall, a bad jersey, but not like a god-awful Groner jersey. Like Buffalo's Turd Burger, to me, is a god-awful Groner jersey. I know a lot of the staff on HJC like that jersey for the same reasons that I like the Burger King jersey. So bad jersey, but something that had potential, and maybe that lends itself to why I enjoy it so much. Let's go to the other side of the matchup. We're talking about the Boston Bruins Pooh Bear jersey. Sean, you're up to bat.
Okay, here's a jersey that just hung around way too long. Let's talk about how Ray Bourque wore this jersey, and also Patrice Bergeron wore this jersey. It was the last of the 95 jerseys to go, when it should have been arguably one of the first that lasted more than a season. I like it, I really do. But unfortunately, it hung around through too many eras in Bruins history. Too many players wore it. People got tired of it. I really like the fact that the jersey is yellow. There's a lot of black, but there's just enough white. I think that the black numbers really pop, and the logo itself isn't bad. I actually like the script in the shoulders. The one thing about that is that they certainly were not the only team to do that, but maybe the only team to do that at the NHL level. We saw, I think, most famously, Gatineau in the Q did that for a little bit, and it looks better here. It's not something I'd want teams to do often or ever again, really. But again, it's just the fact that this jersey outlasted the lockout for me, that I just kind of really got tired of it near the end. And Joe Thornton wearing it was like the year he was traded to San Jose. Like, come on.
Well, yeah, it may have overstayed its welcome, but it's not necessarily a jersey looked back fondly of similar to the way the Kings one is, or even the Ducks Wild Wing. But Justin, let's hear your thoughts on what you think of the Boston Bruins Pooh Bear jersey.
Yeah, this is one of the first years I remember growing up and just kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily impressed by, but just kind of being like wowed by, like the fact that it just existed surprised me. It's got a lot going for it. Like Sean said, it's got a good balance of yellow, black, and white. I really like the bear claw, bear fur, whatever you want to call it, going across it in the striping pattern. Is something that's definitely unique and something that definitely uses that sublimation you were talking about. The thing that gets me here is the fact that, well, we have a nice yellow, black, white balance. The fact that the primary logo is brown kind of just comes out of nowhere. I mean, having the brown is important to the Bruins, and it's something that's been in the history. But I've tried it before to have a Bruins concept that uses both brown and black, and it's really tough. And I can't say that they necessarily nailed it on the head here either. I think it's a good jersey, and I don't mind the logo in and of itself, but the jersey doesn't really seem to fit the logo, especially with the logo being all round and natural and actually looking like a real illustration of a bear, and then the jersey itself being more abstract. It's definitely a big juxtaposition, but for the most part I think it works. It's just a little odd looking back on.
I think the jersey really works. I like the bear fur or claw print. I don't know what we're calling it, but the jagged edge print. I think as a yellow jersey, that was really cool, really popped, and still, the Bruins in yellow, as long as it's done properly, looks really great. And so this had the jersey on its own had the potential to look really great. Even the 3-color collar, which I'm not usually a fan of, totally works with the jersey here because it's the same striping pattern or outline pattern that they use on all the print on the jersey. Where I think the jersey really falls short is the primary logo, which takes the brunt of the criticism by people on this one. It's brown, like Justin mentioned, which doesn't fit anywhere else on the jersey. It's very docile. It looks like it's maybe hibernating for the hockey season. There's nothing about it. It's lots of detail, lots of shading in there. Detail not really easy to doodle on a piece of paper, which I always think is kind of important with a logo. And I know Sean likes it or is okay with it, but I think the word mark on the shoulders really dates this jersey and is kind of out of place. It just doesn't fit on this thing. So, again, for the 95 alternates, a good effort. It had to be a pioneer, right? Nobody had done the sublimation before. But, again, just a little bit of a miss here. And with a few adjustments, really kind of could have been a classic 90s jersey. It is time to pick our winner, though. So we're looking at the LA Burger King jersey going up against the Boston Bruins Pooh Bear jersey. Sean, who do you have in this one?
I got to give it to the Pooh Bear. I think I'm going to be the only vote for it. But again, it's just comparing the two. I don't see why the Burger King, again, Gretzky wore it, but Glenn Murray wore the Pooh Bear. Ray Bourque wore the Pooh Bear, and Felix Potvin wore the Pooh Bear.
There is that great photo. It's not so great, but it's very interesting on a Google search for this jersey. And on one of the games, the Bruins wore their white helmets with this jersey, and it looks really bad.
Oh gosh!
Yeah, it's Ray Bourque wearing the white helmet with this jersey. So get your Googlers out, folks, and look up find a way to look up this jersey. I can't imagine that's pretty. No, it's really off-putting, and it doesn't look good at
Anyone remember, if they're old enough, when Byron Dafoe wore his star pads, like the magic pads with these? Like,
I don't recall that.
You don't recall that?
No.
Yeah, look up Byron Dafoe's pads when he was the starter in Buffalo.
Buffalo?
Or Boston.
Boston, okay.
Boston.
All right. And
all those B teams. Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, Ray Bourque in the white helmet.
That's beer league. That's beer league.
It is beer league. So if you get your Googleizers out, you'll find Ray Bourque in a white helmet wearing the Pooh Bear jersey. But Sean has still chosen the Pooh Bear jersey. Do you want to change your mind after seeing that photo?
No. I'm sticking with it in spite of. Okay, put me down for the Burger King. That's bad. That kills it. Oh my gosh.
Ray Bourque has swayed Sean's decision, and he's going with the Burger King reluctantly. Justin, who are you going with here?
You know what? Ray Bork doesn't scare me. I'm sitting with the Pooh Bear. I think it's I don't know, the Burger King, like it's unique, it's iconic for sure. I mean, I say this as someone who is purchasing a Burger King as we speak, actually, in the processes of talking through it. But it is just hideous. Like, as a jersey, it's gross. It's something you have just to pique a conversation, but it's something that if it couldn't pique a conversation, you wouldn't let it out of the closet. Like, the Pooh Bear definitely has its issues, but I mean, outside of the fact that it was worn in an NHL game, it's hard to say that the Burger King is even a hockey jersey.
I am going with the Burger King on this one. And that's because I was just thinking about the reasons Justin gave there. If I were to wear the Pooh Bear out, people would be, oh my God, what are you wearing? And I think the conversation would stop right there. Whereas I've worn the Burger King out and people go, oh my God, what are you wearing? And then, of course, the next statement is, who's on the back? I got to get a look at this thing. Why do you have this thing? And I think the Pooh Bear is more of and look away and never think about it again. Whereas the Burger King jersey is terrible, but it is more of a conversation piece. So my vote is going to the Burger King. Now, Sean, you've heard our votes, and I've already given you the chance to change your vote once. I'll give you a final chance to change your vote. Do you want to go back to the Pooh Bear, or are you sticking with the Burger King?
I'm just going to make it a sweep after what you said. Like, the Pooh Bear is kind of, I don't know. I prefer it in every way, shape, and form. But as you said, it is not a well-loved jersey. On the other hand, I'm not the biggest Gretzky fan in the world for growing up in Toronto reasons. And frankly, I hate the fact that that to get a Burger King jersey blank, you got to shell out a lot of money. Like, if you wanted to get, I don't know, Stefan Fiset or Tommy Sundstrom or Byron Dafoe on the back of one of those, you got to shell like $300 for a blank one. Versus, everybody puts Gretzky or maybe Rob Blake if you're lucky. Like, I'm sorry, the LA Kings weren't so bad then that you had to just get one player on it. Like, come on.
So you're going back to the Bruins, or you want to stick with the Kings?
No, I'm just venting my frustrations about trying to find a blank Burger King.
Well done, and this is the form to do so. So I'll keep you on the Burger King side then.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have an official 2-1 win here for the LA Kings 1995 alternate jersey, also known as the Burger King jersey. Let's move on to our second semifinal, and this one here, we have the 95 Penguins alternate jersey going up against the 95 Canucks alternate jersey. Now, the Penguins one did actually have quite a long life, but this has the Robo-Pen logo on the front, gradient chest stripe, which goes from gold on the gold side of the Robo-Pen to gray with the two white lines that are in the Robo-Pen logo. So that continues, and it goes... Did that go around the back? I forgot to look up a back picture here. All right, so it goes all the way around the back. We got white numbers there. On the cuffs, we have more of the gradient, but it's two different styles. One cuff is just simple gradient. The other cuff has those white stripes I was talking about. Now, the shoulder yokes are gray, kind of a gradient gray. Got to use that sublimation feature, right? They come to a point, so they are triangle yokes, and they have two thin gold lines in them. So really interesting jersey, really surprised at its shelf life, but I think a lot of people do know this jersey because it did end up becoming the full-time road jersey for the Penguins. Looking at the Canucks alternate jersey from 95, and I think they got a few years out of this as well. It's a half and half jersey. The bottom half is black. The top half is red, maybe a burnt orange. I don't know. Let's stick with red. We got the spaghetti skate logo, and the gradient turns from red at the top and goes into the black. And that is pretty much all the jersey has. The gold numbers on the sleeve and back. And that's what the jersey has. So pretty sort of simple offering here from the Canucks, but also using the sublimation pattern that the teams were really pushed to use. Let's start off with our Penguins review. And Justin, you start us off first on this one.
Yeah, this is actually I think this is the first hockey jersey I ever actually got as a kid. I remember one Christmas I got one, as kids do, with my name on the back in '66. in honor of my favorite player at the time, who I'm sure you all know. There's a lot. I don't think you can, like, Wild Wing and Burger King are there, but this might take it for me in terms of the most 90s jersey out there. They came to the table and said, hey, we got sublimation. What are we going to do with it? And instead of saying, oh, we'll do this, it's going to say, we're going to do all of it. We're going to do everything we can. We're going to do wood striping that stops halfway through. We're going to do gradients. We're going to do all kinds of colors that don't even say Pittsburgh Penguins. And we're going to throw it all on there and see what happens. And I don't know. If this came out today, I would definitely have some words to say about it. None of them would be positive. But for the time, I think it works. It's one of those sort of test piece type jerseys, and like you were saying, they were really pushed to bring sublimation forward, so they went for it. It's one I hope to add to the collection now. Like I say, I have it, but it's a youth small. So even though I'm a tiny little man, I'm not that tiny or little of a man, unfortunately, anymore. So definitely one that is top of my list to go hunt down and add back into the collection.
One night, your goal should be just to get really hammered and squeeze back into it.
There you go. I think I tried it on like a couple Christmases ago when I was back home, and the best I could do was wear it as a cape because it wasn't going on.
And a cape
the numbers used to be hefty back in the day. Like it's triple layered glacier twill. Like even just that alone, the big old 66 on the back just makes it impossible.
That's about as much twill aside from number 88 that you can throw on a jersey. So and I can only imagine there must be some version of this jersey somewhere where it's either all sublimated or like a screen print logo, and then you get the heavy twill on the back. It would probably ride down the back.
Oh my gosh!
And start choking you in the front.
Yeah, you lean backwards just because the weight distribution is so different.
Exactly. All right, Sean, your thoughts on the Robo-Pen Alternate jersey?
Oh, again, just another jersey that really didn't leave a huge impact on me. I like it. It's nice. It's just, of all the Penguins jersey, this one seems to, fade to the background, which is funny because it's on an NHL game cover. NHL 02.
I believe so, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Had that right on the cover, but again, I just think that the Pens have a lot better jerseys, and it's over the top, sure, but because it lasted so long, that sort of faded away. It was their home jersey for a while. Don't forget that it was the only one that became an actual mainstay in a set that we'd see more than 15 games a year. And other than that, I mean, for some Pens fans, I'm sure you found that the teams during that era were pretty disappointing. The fact that they never got that third cup of the 90s still shocks me. But other than that, it's okay.
Yeah, this one always drove me nuts. I never thought it was good in any way. And when it didn't disappear, it actually angered me. And when it became a full-time jersey, I just remember thinking, like, shaking my head going, what? Why? Why do they want to do this? But obviously, I don't know if it was popular enough with fans. It was obviously somewhat popular. Or more popular with ownership, but there it was, and they just kept using it, and I felt like they were just trying to shove it down my throat, but obviously someone liked it, but it was never for me. But now, as I'm older, I appreciate the triangle yokes. I appreciate the gradient chest stripe. The cuffs or arm stripes, whatever you want to call them, are still way out of line. That just doesn't do it for me. But again, like I've mentioned with the previous 95 jerseys, a little rearranging here, a little different coloring, and these actually might not have been too bad, but still terrible as they were. Let's move on to the Canucks jersey here, and Justin, we'll start with you again.
As a jersey, I don't mind it. The half and half honestly works. I thought the half and halves relatively worked in the Stadium Series game a while back between the Kings and the Sharks. I noted the Kings were less than ideal once you throw in white pants and everything. So as a jersey, I don't mind it. The gradient looks fine. It's really unique and cool. I like the sort of checkmark chest stripe they got going on there. What gets me on this, and it's what got me on the Kings one as well, is the uniform. Because when you take the whole set together, also something interesting to note about all of these jerseys is up until this one, the previous three all use the normal socks of the uniform. The Kings wore their normal white socks, the Pens wore their normal blacks, and the Bruins wore their normal gold socks. But here we have the Canucks just plain black socks. And so you have this half and half jersey that the bottom half of the jersey is black, the pants of the uniform is black, the socks are black, the skates are black. So you have Trevor Linden running around looking like he's robbing a house and somebody lit him on fire, and only his top half is burning, and the rest of him is still waiting for the inferno. So I think taking it together, the jersey itself, perfectly fine. Honestly, the singular best jersey of this first round of alternates, but the uniform, I think, is the worst overall, just because you have just red top, black bottom 3/4 of the entire hockey player.
All right, Sean, the Vancouver Canucks alternate jersey.
Gotta completely agree with what Justin said about the Black Sox for that one year, but I love these jerseys. I think that the second that they took these out of the NHL games, I stopped playing as the Canucks because I wanted to see these as much as possible, even if it meant seeing Dan Cloutier in his dumb bucket face. My God, do I love these. Like, you know, you take the skate on a plate logo, a logo that came out, need I remind you, in the late 70s. And then you say, well, how do we make this for the 90s? And somebody said, put a gradient stripe behind it, cut the jersey in half diagonally, half black, half red. The thing about it was that I'd argue it lasted a little too short. I think we could have seen this right up to 98, 99. And then they said, you know what? The 90s are over. We're done with this. But my goodness, what a way to really use that one extra step that the skate on a plate, be it the Flying V's, the V Yokes, or the Kurt McLean era jerseys. Way to go for the one color that was never used. You came out with something completely original and exhausted everything that the skate on a plate logo had to offer.
Yeah, I remember these jerseys when they came out and just being underwhelmed, and I think that was because the overabundance of effort and design from the other four jerseys, and just thinking like, oh, Vancouver, you're not even trying. And now as time has gone by, I'm like, way to go, Vancouver. You kept it quiet and kind of respectable. So
you didn't even try.
So I'm actually, these have aged well for me, and I would be okay with seeing these come back as like a one-time thing, a one-time shot. It could use a shoulder logo. Like, I feel like that's kind of bare up top in the red there, but the gradient, it's soft enough. It kind of works with all the colors and the mixing of the colors going on in the spaghetti skate logo. So overall, I would have to say a pretty good effort, and maybe logistically, or just in theory, the best of the five alternates. So it's time to pick a winner here. We have the Pittsburgh Penguins Robo-Pen Alternate going up against the Spaghetti Skate Alternate. Justin, who's your winner?
I hate to say this. I think little Justin is going to be mad at me, and the Pens fan in me is definitely mad at me. But looking at the Canucks jersey and how nice it is, and then Sean reminded me that they did change the socks the year after and pulled their heads out of their helmets and went with red socks instead of the black bottom look. I think the Canucks take it.
All right, Sean.
Definitely got to give it to the Canucks here again. I mean, the fact that Bure, McGillney, Linden, all your favorite Canucks greats wore it.
And I'm going to make it a clean sweep. So 3-0 for the Vancouver Canucks. All of those reasons and the reasons I explained in my review. And just because I remember that Penguins jersey driving me so nuts that I will not give it the win here. So our Throwback Throwdown final is the LA Kings Burger King jersey going up against the Vancouver Canucks Gradient half and half jersey. Let's pick your winner right off the bat here and explain why one is better than the other. Justin, we're going to start off with you.
Yeah, well, one of them I voted for in the semifinal, one of them I didn't. So pretty clear that the Canucks take it for me here. Like I said, the Burger King is is something special and something that's a big part of hockey history. Fortunately, it's a part of hockey history and not hockey present. Whereas the Canucks jersey, like Ryan said, I would be perfectly happy seeing them bring it back, especially considering they're planning all this stuff for their anniversary season next year. I mean, it's something that if they want to sneak it out, definitely wouldn't mind. Whereas if we saw the Burger King appear, there'd be some words coming from my end on it.
All right, I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to make my pick, which is the LA Kings Burger King jersey. And for me,
mistake.
For me, it's kind of the flagship of the inaugural alternate jersey program. It just symbolizes everything that the teams were trying to do with the alternate jerseys. It just shows how bad everything was. I'm not saying it's a good jersey. It's a bad jersey, but it's so bad that it's likable. And so that's why LA gets my vote. And I jumped in there to give Sean the chance to choose our winner here.
Well, thank you for doing that, Ryan, because it would have been very climatic. Like,
it's pronounced chlamydia.
Anti-excitingly appropriate for me to say this, but I'm giving it to the Canucks simply because Alexander McGillney, one of my favorites of all time, he wore it, looked awesome while doing it. Didn't have a bad back then, so good on you. Good times for McGillney. Should be in the Hall of Fame, and so should these jerseys. No disrespect for the Burger King, though. Again, if we had to measure this on pure 90s, it's a good thing Ryan didn't put the Wild Wing jersey in this, because that would have been an unfair sort of cap there.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. If the Wild Wing jersey was in this vote in any position, how far would it have changed your vote, Sean?
I'll be blunt, no, because the thing about the Wild Wing is that I sit here and I go, you are so close to a really great jersey, because all you have to do is make a matching hem stripe and put the actual Ducks logo on that. You don't even have to change the font. You're done. You have like this fantastic jade jersey, just beautiful. And what do you do with it? You stick your mascot coming out of the ice. It's like, come on.
Am I wrong for liking that? I like that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's my version of Ryan's Burger King right there. That is peak 90s. Like you cannot top that. Like the one thing I would change if it came back into the modern era is the font. But again, it came right out of the 90s. That's where it deserves to stay, and I'm perfectly happy with it. But that is, if you're gonna shoot for the moon in terms of a third jersey, that's the way to go. I think there's a phrase, you shoot for the moon, you land among the stars. I think the Wild Wing made it to the moon, whereas Burger King is kind of just floating out there in the universe, just trying to find a home still. Unfortunately, it's found a home in Ryan's closet, it sounds like. But
yeah, and
I'm going to say the most 90s jersey was actually the Toronto Maple Leafs when they rocked those gorgeous rounded numbers with the silver trim on them. That's the most 90s, because you take something, because what really it should be is like, how do we make this hip and cool for the youth generation who like the rap music? I got an idea. Let's take a team that's old as dirt and give them rounded numbers. And none of the other original 6 teams did that for their home and road. My goodness. Good on you, Toronto. Best 90s team. Jonas Hoagland, love you.
And Toronto had such an angular primary then, too. It's just the strangest thing. Like,
it was such a 90s move. But
at least they were good.
They were a couple years with it. Yeah, they were decent. But you know what I remember those, and we're completely off track here, but I mean, what's the point of a podcast if you're not going to get off track? The thing I remember about those jerseys and the rounded numbers is Felix Potvin, his last year with the Leafs, just had the coolest equipment. He always had cool equipment, but he had the coolest equipment. It was blue and black pads. It had, the teeth or whisker pattern coming out of it, which was in black, outlined in white. And then it had these silver cat eyes, one cat eye on each pad. And I just thought those were so cool, and it went so well with the numbers. And it's so 90s, and it's just so fantastic. But again, obviously I'm biased because the Leafs are my favorite team, and Potvin was my favorite player until I lined up for 2 hours to get his autograph, and he wanted to charge $60 to buy something and another $20 to get the autograph, which is kind of commonplace nowadays.
Goodness.
Yeah, but back in the 90s, that was kind of a no-no. Going back to the Throwback Throwdown here, Vancouver wins it which is actually kind of surprising for me. But Vancouver wins this Throwback Throwdown, and maybe it was the matchup. But well done, Vancouver. And as Justin and I both mentioned, it would be kind of cool to see these come back. I think Vancouver has a ton of jersey history, and it really would be awesome to see them do warm-up nights, the same that Anaheim has done here in the 2018-2019 season. So that would be really cool to see. So Vancouver, your anniversary is coming up. We would love to see that. For the listeners, we want to know what you guys think and who your winner would have been. So we have the LA Kings Burger King jersey. We have the Robo-Pen Alternate jersey. We have our winner, the Vancouver Canucks Gradient jersey. And we have the Boston Bruins Pooh Bear jersey. It's up to you to pick a winner. You can let us know on Twitter at HockeyJC using the hashtag HJC Throwdown. Let us know who your winner would be. And we'll announce your selections next week on the podcast. And if you're not familiar with any of the jerseys we've been talking about here today, links to the jerseys are in the episode description, so you can find them there. So that's Throwback Throwdown for this week. We hope you enjoyed it. Going on hockeyjerseyconcepts.com right now, we have the Vancouver Canucks redesign, and entries are due January 25th. Also, just started up is the 2018 Concept of the Year semifinal vote. Be sure to head on over to the blog side of the page. You can vote there as long as you're logged into a Google account. Be sure to check out our other podcasts across the network. Of course, every Tuesday, the Jersey Nerds podcast comes out, and every Thursday, Fake or Authentic comes out. So be sure to check out those. Like, download, subscribe, share, whatever you got to do. Help us out and take a listen to the podcast. So for Sean, Justin, I'm Ryan. Thanks for listening, everybody. Goodbye.